Leon and the Championship, Chapter 5, entitled A Practice Flush. On his own and powerless, trapped inside a stinky, sticky trash can, Leon struggled to get free. He couldn't. His arms were pinned beneath him. "Hey, you in there," someone chirped. "I'm stuck," Leon moaned. "No kidding. Hold on, or rather, don't hold on. Just relax." "Relax?" Leon said to himself. "In a trash can?" "Okay," said the voice. "Here goes. 3, 2, 1. And Leon felt a tug. Suddenly, his whole body started to uncrumple. It was as if someone had hit the rewind button on the previous few minutes of his life. The next thing he knew, he was squinting into the sun. He shielded his eyes and found himself looking at a thin, bald man with a very bushy beard. "You okay?" the man asked pleasantly. "Kind of," said Leon. "What's in the pouch?" Leon had forgotten all about the pouch clutched in his hand. Lunch." "Pretty fancy lunch sack you got there," said the man. "You sure you're okay? You look like, well, garbage." Leon managed to smile. "How'd you end up in there?" "Slipped," said Leon. "Slipped? Into a trash can?" Leon nodded. He wasn't about to rat. The man scratched his beard. "What's your name?" "Leon Zeisel." "Well, if you slipped into a trash can head first, Leon Zeisel, you defied the laws of gravity." Leon shrugged. "We'd better get inside," the man said, turning for the entrance of the school. "Second bell's already rung, and it's never wise to be tardy on the first day of class." Leon tensed. It took him a moment to figure out why. Then he knew. Tardy, he realized, was a word only teachers used. For the rest of the day, Leon tried to keep a low profile. He hoped no one would talk about his trash can dunking. "Yeah, right," he told himself. "Fat chance." At assembly, walking past a row of 6th graders, he heard someone joke, "Hey, isn't that the kid who got canned?" And at the gym, when Coach Kasperitis warned the class against trash talking, Yumpkin yelled out, "If we can't trash talk, then we can't talk about Zitzel." Leon fumed. When the recess bell rang, he took refuge in the boys' room. He checked the stalls and was relieved to find them empty. He entered the one farthest from the door and sat down. He removed Pumpkinhead from the pouch and stared at the figure's grim features. "What's the deal?" he asked himself. "Why don't you work like the last spitting image?" Leon brooded for a while about the success of his previous handiwork. The figure of his 4th grade teacher, Miss Hagmeyer. With a careful application of teacher's spit, the earlier doll had worked like a charm. Perhaps because it was a charm. Pumpkinhead was a different story, and one that now seemed doomed to end badly. Leon stood up and turned to face the toilet. He gave the miniature likeness of his arch-enemy a long, hard squeeze before beginning a countdown. 5, 4, 3. He hesitated. Head first or feet first? He wondered. Head first, definitely. He dangled Pumpkinhead by the ankles over the bowl and started over. 5, 4, 3, 2. He was stopped by another concern. Release Pumpkinhead and then flush? Or flush first and then release? Or a third option, drop and flush at exactly the same time. Figuring a practice flush try might help him decide, Leon yanked on the tank handle. There was a weak whoosh, followed by a feeble gurgle, after which the water in the bowl slowly whirled away. The classical school was an ancient building, and its plumbing was just as old. Leon guesstimated it was 50-50 Pumpkinhead might not clear the drain. He imagined the miniature Lumpkin bobbing like a dead halibut on the surface of the water. The thought pleased him until he realized the larger-than-life Lumpkin would probably find out. Plus, there was a chance Principal Birdwhistle might learn about the floater. That wouldn't be pretty either. In the end, Leon nixed the dunking idea. 10 minutes of recess remained. Not knowing where else to go, he dragged himself onto the playground. PW and Lily Matisse tried waving him over to the basketball court, where Lily Matisse was winning a game of one-on-one. But Leon chose to sit on his own, under the giant maple shading the middle of the yard. He glanced about. Reminders of his vanished power were everywhere. The jungle gym? That was where he had first revealed his supernatural abilities to PW and Lily Matisse by forcing Miss Hagmaier to perform one-handed pull-ups. The spot where Lumpkin was now teasing Antoinette Breed? That was where, again thanks to the earlier spitting image, Miss Hagmaier had executed a stunning series of double Dutch moves that culminated in a septuple twist, a 25-20, between a pair of spinning jump ropes. But that was 4th grade, Leon said to himself, and this is 5th. School began at 8:05 and ended promptly at 3. Those 6 hours and 55 minutes were the longest 6 hours and 55 minutes Leon had ever endured, ever, which might explain why, when the final bell finally sounded, he bolted like a racehorse. He took the school steps 2 at a time, turning his head away as he passed the trash can that had caused him so much grief. In that split second, he caught the sight of an ominous green-orange blur that prompted him to pick up the pace. Halfway down the street, he glanced back, hoping he had imagined the ominous green-orange blur. He hadn't. In fact, the ominous green-orange blur was gaining, and the closer it got, the less blurry and the more ominous it became. Leon broke into an all-out gallop. He was in the home stretch, 20 feet from Napoleon's taxi, when he felt the first thwack. He stumbled, but didn't fall. Then came the second thwack, and this one, the one that dislodged his backpack and caused him to tumble. "Wipe out!" Lumpkin cried out triumphantly as he dashed away. Leon dusted himself off, thankful that his backpack had pillowed the fall.